Hi, this is Jill Simonello, and I am the managing editor for Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk. And this week, we are driving a next generation vehicle. This is the all-new 2021 Kia Sorento. So this vehicle gets a lot of new features, upgrades, updates, a completely new platform, and 4 different powertrains. So we're going to take a closer look right now. All right, so since we're here with the engine compartment open, you can probably tell it is time to talk about the engine. And this is actually one of the new things that is available on the 2021 Kia Sorento. And that is the fact that there are 4 powertrain options. And I guess I should say 3 options for 2021 and 1 coming in 2022, but we'll get to that. So let's start with the gasoline engine. So there are going to be 2 gasoline engines. The first one is a base 2.5 liter engine. It'll deliver 191 horsepower and 182 pound-feet of torque. Yes, I'm using notes today. There's so much information here. I don't think I could get through this without using notes. So, base engine 2.5 liter. The up-level engine is going to be a 2.5 liter turbocharged engine. And that will deliver 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Now, if I were going to go with one of the gasoline options, I have to say, for me personally, I would have to choose the 2.5 liter turbocharged engine because more power is always more better. But that brings us to the third powertrain option, and that's what we're driving this week, and that is the hybrid model. So this is the first time that Sorento will have a hybrid, and it's pretty cool because in addition to getting more power, you're going to get more efficiency. So this engine is a 1.6 liter turbocharged engine, and it will deliver 227 horsepower. EPA estimates you'll get 37 miles per gallon in combined driving. Now, I've only had this for about 24 hours. Most of my driving has been in the city. As you can see, I've actually come out to the suburbs so that I can get a couple of more miles on this vehicle before I have to turn it in tomorrow. And I've been averaging about 32 miles per gallon. So I think that's pretty good. I think with more time, I could probably get pretty close to the 37 miles per gallon. Now, the really cool thing, and what is coming for 2022, is a plug-in hybrid version. And this is going to also have a 1.6 liter engine and, again, more power and better fuel economy. So if you've watched anything that I have done for this channel previously, you know that I am a fan of the plug-in hybrid. I've talked with Tim about the plug-in hybrid X3, and I've reviewed the Volvo XC90 plug-in hybrid, and in the city, for somebody like me, it just makes a lot of sense. If I put 10 miles on a vehicle in a day, that is probably pushing my limits. So it's going to be pretty rare that I put 30 miles per gallon or 30 miles on the vehicle to extend beyond the electric range. So, details for the plug-in hybrid. As I mentioned, available in 2022. It will also have the 1.6 liter turbocharged engine, but it'll deliver 261 horsepower and it'll have 30 miles of all-electric range. So, like I said, for somebody like me who lives in the city, I am probably never going to drive or rarely drive more than 30 miles at any given time. So I can go home, I can plug in, and I will probably not touch a lot of gasoline unless I'm taking a road trip or coming out to the suburbs. All right, so while we have this engine compartment open, I know you all have an affinity to look at things in here and see if they're reachable. So put my notes down, and I just want to tell you that yes, I can in fact reach the dipstick. So the dipstick is located right here, and it's very easily reachable. And I'm not wearing high heels, so I can do that without stretching. Additionally, the washer fluid is right here. So both items, I don't really have to stretch. I don't need to climb on a bumper. And again, not wearing high heels, so both easily reachable things. All right, so we've looked at the engine, we've talked about the 4 different powertrains. Let's move on to talking about the other new features you will see in the 2021 Kia Sorento. All right, as I'm heading back into the city, I just wanted to give a couple of quick driving impressions. And I should make sure I state and clarify that this is not a full week test. This is more like a first look drive. So I'm really not getting a lot of time behind the wheel to give you an in-depth driving impression. I'm sure Tim will have this soon, and so you'll have probably more detail than you want, but just know that this is literally just my first impressions. And overall, my first impressions are really good. I think this is comfortable. I think it's fairly quiet. I think that it drives very well. And generally, again, I like it. The one thing that I do have to say, and this is kind of an unfortunate thing for the Kia Sorento, is the fact that I am also driving the Nissan Rogue at exactly the same time. That is also a new vehicle. And that just feels a little more solid. I don't know how to define it other than it's just a little bit quieter, a little bit more solid, a little bit more planted. And had I not driven the two vehicles pretty much at exactly the same time, it's not something that I would have noticed. But since I am in both vehicles simultaneously, I noticed it. And again, not to say that this is bad and that I don't like it, because I do. I really like the Kia Sorento, but there's just something that's a little less finished. I think that's the way I want to say it. There's something that's just a little less finished about this Kia Sorento than the Nissan Rogue. And granted, they're not competitive vehicles at all. You know, you'd be looking at more the Murano or the platform or the Pathfinder if you were looking at Nissan. But it just so happens I'm driving these two vehicles at the same time, and they're both new. So, okay, driving generally good, comfortable, good visibility, good driving position, and solid for the most part over bumps and potholes and all that good stuff. I do want to comment just a little bit also about the hybrid powertrain, and that it is good, but it's not the best that I've driven. The Honda CR-V hybrid and the Toyota Venza hybrid, I would say, are probably the bar that everybody needs to meet, and those are the best two hybrids I've driven recently. And this is good, but it's just not the best. So fairly quiet, fairly seamless system that operates well, and I've been getting some fairly decent fuel economy on the highway. I've been getting between 32 and 34 miles per gallon, and in the city less than that, probably around 23, 24 miles per gallon. But I am not the kindest, least aggressive driver out there, and I have not been trying to drive this for fuel economy. If I were a little bit more careful, I'd probably be doing a lot better. So to wrap up my impressions and move on to my likes and dislikes, I will just summarize by saying I really like this. I think they've done a nice job. And if you are looking at, if you like the Sorento already and you're looking for something that has 3 rows, I think it's going to be a really good place to look. All right, so moving on. All right, so I finally managed to make it home, parked in front of my place, and it's time to wrap up this review. So before I close out, I want to give you my 5 favorite things about the 2021 Kia Sorento and 5 things I could do without. So let's start with what I like. And the first thing I like every day, all day, is going to be my driving position. Kia has done a great job designing this seat for a 5th percentile female. Now, I hope this means they've also done a really good job designing for the male, but I can't tell you about that. All I can tell you is for a petite person, this driving position works really well. So, number 1, all day long. Second thing that I really like about the 2021 Kia Sorento is the availability of a wireless environment. So wireless CarPlay and wireless charging, and both of those things work really well. Now, the third thing that I like about this vehicle, I probably wouldn't have noticed if it hadn't started raining when I was on my way home. So turned on my windshield wipers, and let's just put the car in reverse for a second. Did you see what happened there? I know a lot of SUVs with a rear wiper probably do this, but I think it's really cool. If you have your windshield wipers on and you put your car in reverse, that windshield wiper automatically turns on to help with your visibility. 2 thumbs up for me on that. I think it's a really good idea. Now, the fourth thing I really like about this vehicle is the availability of captain's chairs in the second row. Granted, I had 2 older sisters. I was the youngest child, and something like this probably wouldn't have worked for us because I would have been stuck in the 3rd row in a very uncomfortable position. But if you only had 2 kids or 1 kid and you wanted to give them a lot of comfort in the second row, those captain's chairs are a great option. And they are pretty comfortable, plenty of leg room, and the armrest to boot. Now, the fifth and final thing that I want to point out that I really liked about the 2021 Kia Sorento is going to be the seat management. And I'm going to lump that all in together because overall it is really easy to put the seats down, put the seats up, and to deal with them, which is a good thing because you're probably going to be putting that third row down a lot if you need to put any cargo back there. But as you saw, you just pull the strap, push the third row down, goes down easily. You pull the strap, it comes up easily. Really like the extra button in the back that allows you to put the second row seats down from the third row. Huge bonus. And the fact that the second row seats are really light and easy to put back in place, also a bonus. Another easy seat management thing is getting that second row to go down so you can exit to get out of the vehicle. That's just a 1-button push and voila. All right, so now it's time to move on to the things that I don't like about the Kia Sorento. And there are a couple of things that could be deal breakers for a potential buyer. And the first is going to be that third row. Kia calls it usable. I'm going to call it occasional. Occasionally usable, I guess I will say, because I'm the size of a 10-year-old, and if I didn't feel comfortable back there, it's not going to be an ideal situation. My knees stick off the seat. Even though I had plenty of knee room and foot room, it just would be relatively uncomfortable for a longer period of time. My tailbone would probably start to hurt. So that's going to be the biggest thing. If you actually want a 3-row vehicle that you are going to use that third row all the time, you need to put whoever's sitting back there to see how they feel and drive around a couple of times, because you want to see if that person's going to get car sick. You're going to want to see if it's comfortable. And from my perspective, I think that third row is a little bit of a miss. Now, the second thing pertains to that third row, and that's going to be cargo volume. So you gain the third row, you lose a lot of cargo volume. Behind that second row seat, there is not space to put a lot of stuff. You can maybe fit a backpack or a briefcase, but other than that, cargo capacity is severely limited. It's narrower than my shoulders. So no rollerboards, no suitcases. This is not a car that you're going to take a road trip with 6 people in it. So that is also a bit of a miss. The third thing is probably more along the lines of personal preference, but the gear shift. It's a dial. Well, I really like the metal and the beveled edges. I think it looks good. I am just not a fan of a dial shifter. So that is going to be the third thing on my list. Now, the fourth thing is fixable. And I should point out this is an EX trim, so this is not your high-end SX prestige trim. This is more of your volume seller. And it's missing a lot of the technology that I love. So it doesn't have that 12.3-inch TFT display, and it does not have the around view camera. So, like I said, solvable. You just have to level up. But this vehicle with the hybrid powertrain costs $38,000. So you're definitely going to have to pay a little bit more for it. And I know a lot of people have a problem paying $40,000 for a Kia. I think they need to get over that because this is a really good vehicle. But I want a little bit more technology than what I had in the EX trim. And you're just going to have to pay for it. So fixable, but it's going to cost you. All right, so the fifth thing that I don't like about this vehicle is going to be the hybrid powertrain. And it's not that I don't like it, because I like it, I just don't love it. And having recently driven a couple of vehicles that are way better, this just disappointed me a little bit. I wanted it to be that, and it wasn't. So I will say, for first go, putting a hybrid in the Sorento, it's not bad, but I wanted more. So I'm really looking forward to that plug-in hybrid version, because I think that is going to give me the more. All right, it is time to wrap this up. Thank you for crawling around with me inside the 2021 Kia Sorento and taking a closer look at this all-new vehicle. This is just a first look, so hopefully we will have more coming soon. But thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching, and hopefully you also follow us on the website at pickuptrucktalk.com. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I will see you down the road.